This video is going to be my reaction to the Ravens' 23 win over the Jaguars down in Florida in Week 15 Sunday Night Football. A really workmanlike performance or win, if you ask me. I do think the Jags had clear opportunities to get more points and make this thing closer. The 23-7 score, for me at least, is somewhat misleading. But the Ravens had a number of guys make critical plays over the course of the game. The Jaguars had some opportunities to make big plays, and in fact they did. They had a 65-yard touchdown catch by Jamal Agnew, but they also missed a number of opportunities. And when the Ravens got a chance to close the game out in the second half, they did so. Madubuike had another sack. I think it's his 12th now. Kyle Hamilton had at least one great pass defense on the disputed touchdown to Calvin Ridley in the fourth quarter that the one referee on the television broadcast was white knighting over for like 10 minutes. I thought Roquan Smith had a huge hit on Trevor Lawrence that goes underrated. It was a scramble in the fourth quarter. Trevor Lawrence scrambles for the first down up the middle, and Roquan, doesn't slide, so Roquan makes contact with him up top. Huge hit impact, and I thought it impacted, or affected, I should say, Trevor Lawrence's ability to throw the football in the next two plays. It seemed obvious to me. Collinsworth is trying to figure it out. I wouldn't be surprised for real to see Roquan fined for that hit in the fourth quarter, because that's just the way football is now. If you do something that impacts the quarterback's ability to throw the ball or keep the audience watching on TV and watching more ads, then the NFL is going to figure out a way to disinhibit that or discourage you from doing so. But anyway, the Ravens offensively picked up 251 rushing yards on a night when I don't think the offense was extremely sharp. Nonetheless, almost 400 yards of offense, 396. Churned out 25 first downs. If that's the standard for our offense, we're in a pretty good place when we don't look, in my opinion, tremendously smooth and impressive over the course of the game. Got to give the Jags defense credit. I thought they picked their poison. Of course, I haven't seen the All-22 yet. That no one has. But I thought that they chose the manner of their demise. Maybe that's a better way to put it. I think it was a smart choice. It looked like a lot of zone defense to me, trying to prevent us from generating big plays in the pass games. And even on third downs when they had the delayed blitzes, which, our offensive line still can't pick up. I don't know whose fault it is. Is it Lamar's fault? Is it the offensive line's fault? Is it both? All of them? I don't know. But the delayed blitzes have been a problem all year, starting with week 1 against the Texans. But even when the Jags did utilize the delayed blitzes on third down, they were still playing zone behind it. It seemed to me like they were trying to avoid giving up the big play in the pass game and hoping that Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen could disrupt our pass pro, which they did at times. Nonetheless, this offense has multiple gears, and tonight I think is a good illustration of that. I'll let some stats run here. The font on some of those stats is probably small, so if it's too small, I apologize. Offense has multiple gears. There was definitely a ball control element in the second half. We had 162 yards of offense in the first half, finished with 396. So 230 after halftime, 234 if I did my math right. One of our field goals was on a short field after the sack by Madubuike, his 12th, like I said, where he forced a fumble. But we did have a 5-play, 58-yard drive with a pair of 20-yard runs on the drive. Well, so one of those was the 24-yard run by Mitchell, who apparently will be out for a while or unfortunately perhaps even for the season. You had the amazing catch by Likely where Lamar extended the play and got it to him deep left inside the 10-yard line. I'm talking about the two elements that there are to this offense. Even if Keaton Mitchell is out, God forbid, for the whole season, there's the ball control element, which we had on display, running for 251, but also the big play element. Maybe no 60-yarders tonight, but the big plays where Lamar can move around and get the ball to multiple guys who can make catches. We won this game tonight with one catch from Odell Beckham Jr., one catch from Zay Flowers, and only one touchdown catch overall, none from a receiver. No receiver had a catch of longer than 18 yards. That was Rashad Bateman. And we still generated 400 yards of offense. The standard is high, if you ask me, for our offense, for what we want to get to and what we're going to have to face in the next 2 weeks and hopefully in the playoffs. And I do think this team is up to the task. Getting to the Jags, however, their game plan, I think, was to limit big plays by us and let their offense generate points. And they had opportunities. They missed 2 field goals, really only one of which I'd say is high percentage chance. Lawrence fumbled once on the 3rd and 17 from like our 25, 23-yard line. He was scrambling, and he wasn't going to get the first down. Wasn't even close. But nonetheless, fumbled under no pressure at all. Arthur Millette picked it up and got tackled, caught immediately. They could have had, really, the Jags could have had 10 or 13 more points tonight. You have the possession at the end of the second quarter where they refused to spike the football with no timeouts left. A real lack of awareness on the part of the Jags coaching staff. I feel a little bit, it's ironic, and I actually feel a little bit comfortable and glad that I get to say that about another coaching staff, because we as Ravens fans are familiar with that dynamic. When someone's going to walk into the face of danger, and no one on the sideline or on the headset or whatever is willing to stop them. In this case, Doug Peterson having them not spike the football. Instead, hurry up, snap it, and great play by Marcus Williams near the sideline to make the tackle. Unfortunately, it's his last play of the night. Tremendous effort by him to force the guy to stay in bounds, to tackle him in bounds, and let the clock run. The Ravens defense, I thought, challenged everything. There was that early flurry of Trevor Lawrence targeting Brandon Stevens a lot. That was like 4 targets on the first 3 possessions, maybe more. He did hit Agnew with the big play action pass. Looked like a design play to me to in the beginning of the third quarter. After that, the Ravens defense settled down. 3 plays, -9 yards, punt. Talking about the Jags offense. That was when Matabike nearly had a sack, but Trevor Lawrence was called for intentional grounding inside the 5. Actually, like the 2. Almost a sack. I mean, really close to a safety as well. Then the ensuing possession for the Jags, we hold them to 8 yards on 3 plays, another punt. Humphrey was all over Ridley on a pass play for like 6 or 7 yards there on a second down. I thought Humphrey played with he was a lot more active tonight. Looked a lot quicker, if you ask me. We go up 20-7 on a field goal, and then the Jags 3 plays, negative yards, fumble by Lawrence, the strip sack by Matabike. We added the field goal, 23-3, and really closed it out. Even though the Jags were able to get down inside the red zone to finish the game, that 4th down pass to Evan Ingram fell incomplete. Looked like Kyle Hamilton was there to challenge it, but I'm not really sure who it was. Jags did finish with 333 total yards. So if Jags fans are listening, or anyone who's a Ravens hater or a naysayer, will say, well, they did move the ball on you. That's true. I mean, they certainly could have had 10 or 13 more points. I got no problem with somebody saying that. From a yards per play perspective, though, the play action pass to Agnew for 65 yards. It was a jumbo 12 personnel. So you had 2 tight ends on the field, one of which was a 6 offensive lineman. It's under center play action. I got no idea who messed the coverage up. Marcus Williams out with the groin injury at that point. I know JAD was in at one moment in the game, got hurt on the second possession he was on. If you take out that 65-yard play for a moment, it does count. There's nothing wrong with it. If you do, the Jags ran 60 other plays tonight and generated 268 yards, which at 4.7 yards per play would be in line with our defense's performance throughout the season. I do think that Trevor Lawrence early in the game had a real understanding of our coverages. I thought he recognized things quickly and was able to get the ball out soon, even though they didn't have any points to that time throughout the first half. Offense for the Ravens, man, 25 first downs on 69 plays. And the last 6 or 8 of those plays for us are obvious rundowns, maybe more, maybe the last 10. So there is some element of explosiveness in terms of 25, let's do it this way, say 25 first downs on 60 overall plays, subtracting out the obvious rundowns late in the game. Even though we didn't get the 65-yarder like they did, or even a 36-yard catch that I think Zay Jones had against Brandon Stevens up the left sideline, a brilliant catch. 25 first downs on 60 plays looks pretty daggone good. It'll be a huge loss if Keaton Mitchell's out or done for the year, because he just offers such a dynamic ability. At 73 yards rushing tonight on 8 per carry. I think he added 2 catches for 15 yards, so nearly 90 yards of offense from Keaton Mitchell in only 10 touches. Gus finished with 58 yards, including another short yardage touchdown on, surprise, surprise, a power play. He did have a 20-yard run late in the game where he's holding the ball out in his left hand, and my brain, I'm seeing last year that fumble, which I think is very uncharacteristic. If we don't fumble that ball down in Jacksonville last year in that situation, I don't think they win the game. Nonetheless, we ended up with 251 overall rushing yards. That's interesting in a game with the 49ers coming up, a team who likes to run the ball and who has a very complete and balanced defense. They're good at everything. I wonder about the score of that game. I'm not saying that these two offenses can't score on each other, but the run game shortening the clock on both sides, it could be another 20 to 17 type game. Isaiah Likely had 5 catches, 1 on the touchdown in the first half. It looked to me like a similar concept to the play before, where we hit Kolar up the left seam. Lamar hit Likely up the right seam. A very similar play to something that we ran in 2019 and 2020 a lot. Multiple tight ends to one side. Vertical releases by both of them. The outside tight end kind of expanding towards the sideline. The inside tight end holding that route between the hash, closer to the hash, but between the hash and the top of the numbers. I'm not exactly sure where Likely caught it. Bateman had 3 catches overall, but other than that, we got next to nothing from the receivers. OBJ had 1 catch. He did have what I think probably goes down as a drop in the third quarter, the opening possession for the Ravens of the third quarter, where we're up 10-0, and it would have changed the dynamic of that. I thought it was a good ball by Lamar. I mean, maybe it's a foot or two low. I don't exactly remember the circumstances of it. It's in OBJ's hands. Normally he catches that football. He did not. I think if he does, puts us in field goal range, potentially a touchdown, changes the dynamic completely. Flowers only had 1 catch. I thought we did have at least one situation again where we threw deep on a third down between the opponent's 35 and 40, where another 4 or 5 yards gets us in field goal range or gives us the option to go for it or kick the field goal. I have disagreement with other people and with myself actually on some of the long passes. I want us to throw them. We have hit some. Lamar's thrown some of them very well. I do wonder if third down, this is the situational awareness. I do wonder if third down from the Jags 38-yard line or just outside field goal range, we need 4 yards, maybe 5, I guess, to make it a high percentage opportunity. Maybe you could say we need 6. I don't know, but to me, I don't think a deep shot there is giving us a real scoring opportunity. There are some who will say, "Oh, you need touchdowns in the playoffs to score. You need touchdowns." Have we scored one on one of those 3rd and 6s when we're right outside field goal range? When another 3 points would be important. It didn't end up mattering tonight. We only won 20. We won 23-7. It's not like the Jags were able to get another touchdown other than the big one, but they came close. I thought we did it twice tonight. There was one to Bateman up the right sideline that I'm talking about, where there was 2 of them actually to Bateman, I believe. I don't think we can waste those scoring opportunities. I don't. I understand the mentality to say you need to score touchdowns to beat some of these teams. I won't disagree that there are situations where you need to. I mean, tonight wasn't one of them. I'd rather have 3 points than none. I know that the offense almost got to 400 total yards, and it may be overly negative, but the reality is we need points. And we leave points on the board with our play calling. It's the same thing Greg Roman did at times, if you ask me. The ensuing punt was a great punt by Stout, but it's not like we forced a turnover after the ensuing punt. We did stop them, and they punted back to us. So it's not like people can say, oh, we're flipping the field. And actually, the people who say those things are talking out of both sides of their mouth. It's like you need touchdowns to win in the playoffs, but we should rely on pinning them deep and get a stop. Well, if we can't, can we stop people or not? Because if we can't stop people, then we need touchdowns. I just don't see where it makes any sense to continue to do some of these things in these situations against good offenses, against good teams. We did it again. After Madubuike's strip sack, it's a 3rd and 7, maybe 6 minutes or so left in the game. We're up 20-7, and we won 23-7. And I just don't see the point in the check X fade to OBJ down there, 3rd and 7 from the 16-yard line. I don't know if it's a Lamar thing. I don't know if it's a Todd Monken thing. I don't know if it's a John Harbaugh thing. It's not winning football to me because I guess there's some analytics that says it's okay to throw those passes. I don't know. Have any of them hit? How many times does it not need to work, or does it need to fail? I guess in order for us to say we should try another tact, try another approach. Plenty of good stuff from the offense, though. We'll get to the fourth possession in the first half. We're up 3-0, and we go on a long drive. It took a long time to score from our own negative 40. The Jags very easily could have had 6 points by then, or at least 3. And the 3rd and 10 to Bateman from the third play down from the top, I thought was amazing. Lamar scrambles around, finds Bateman over the middle, like right hash, somewhere around the top of the number to the right hash, finds him coming in right to left. Lamar then keeps it the very next play. I mean, think about the back-to-back plays there. Him scrambling around and then finding Bateman open. I think the Jags were in zone. And then the very next play, we call an option read, and he keeps it for 7. There's not even very many quarterbacks in the NFL that are asked to do that. And he's asked to do it in that order. Sometimes he's asked to do it in the opposite order, whereby he's asked to read the option, maybe get 7 yards, and on a 2nd and 3, the very next play, read a pass concept. I just think it's remarkable. The 2nd and 3, it was a weak holding call on Ronnie Stanley. I don't get it. It's a kick-out block against Foye Oluokun. I don't see a hold, but pushes us back to a 2nd and 12. We go likely screen, sets us up 3rd and 6, and this one was great. OBJ over the middle against the zone blitz. Josh Allen dropping out. 2 safeties blitzing. Lamar takes a big hit. They're in their nickel alignment. Gets us 14 yards. 2 minutes left in the quarter. We're trying to run out the clock and score in the second half. Incomplete to Bateman on a deep comeback. Didn't look like great coverage there, but maybe I'm misremembering that play. And then Lamar scrambles for 9. This one was a backbreaker for them. It looked like good coverage by the Jags, at least from the replay that we got. Lamar scrambles out of there for 9. Inside the 2-minute warning here, obviously. Gus gets 5 on the 3rd and 1. It's under center. I feel like when we went under center tonight, we were either run or run action to our left and Lamar boot to our right. I think I need to do a video at this point about how high the percentage is so people can see it themselves. And then Kolar for 15. This was a strike. This was right around the time Chris Collinsworth was just fawning over Lamar. Actually, he was doing it pretty much the whole time, but this moment he kept talking about how quick his release was, getting the ball out quick. And he's totally accurate there. Then Gus downhill, get the penalty on Simpson. Gus almost scored. I think he got a yard on 1st and goal from the 2. Horrible penalty by Simpson. Just, you can't do those things. You can't. And nonetheless, Lamar is able to erase it. 16-yard touchdown to Likely. Very similar route, I thought, to Kolar's 2 plays earlier. We take a 10-0 lead. It was an impressive drive from a Lamar standpoint. I mean, you got the 3rd down completion to OBJ over the middle. He gets stung. You got the 1st and 10. You get the 3rd and 10 to Bateman. Scrambles, finds him. Then the option keeper for 7. And then the touchdown to Likely. Collinsworth, have to give him credit. He made a good point. Lamar, he's talking about the MVP conversation. Like, I could care less about those things. They don't matter to me at all. But an interesting point that he made. He's like, Lamar's stats won't be as great as other people. And there's multiple explanations for that. But he's got a great point. We play winning football with Lamar on the field in Baltimore. But our goal is never Lamar to have 35 touchdowns like he did in 2019. I thought it was a cool point. All right, so that one puts us up 10-0. And at the half, I thought we were obviously very fortunate to get out there without giving up any points. Jags missed 2 field goals, like I mentioned. Lawrence fumble that Millette recovered, and then the end of the half. I could not believe this. Lawrence was right on every coverage on that drive to end the second quarter, meaning he went after Stevens, I think, 3 times on the drive, one of which was the phantom DPI call. It was ridiculous. It's not even football at that point when Stevens and Ridley are making contact with each other. Stevens' hands aren't even on him as the ball is in the air. Horrible call. But getting back to Lawrence, he was right on every coverage. Like, I don't know about you, but I can watch some of it and be like, okay, I think I know what's coming in terms of our coverage. And Lawrence went away from certain sides, I think because he would look to one side and he knew what coverage it was and knew exactly where to go to attack it. So give him credit for that. Nonetheless, they didn't spike the ball. And Lawrence's completion in the left flats, Marcus Williams with that tackle, like I said. Ravens did have an unfortunate turnover in the first half as well. So, saying that the Jags could have had 6 or 10 points or 7 or 10 points, while being an accurate statement, the Ravens could have had more as well. We missed an opportunity to score on our first possession, then had to settle for a field goal on our second. I did think that Josh Allen made 2 plays, including a pressure on Lamar that was called for a very weird intentional grounding on the drive when we went up 3-0. Our third possession, the interception by Rayshon Jenkins. I'm not sure what Lamar is seeing there. The play's right in front of him. He made a lot of plays. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's asked to execute multiple concepts, but that one to me, I disagree with Collinsworth. I didn't think there was anything sneaky about Rayshon Jenkins showing up there from the behind view. It looked to me like he was right there the whole time. Shouldn't have been a ball that we throw to that side, if you ask me. It looked like the running back was open in the flats, but I haven't seen the all 22, so I don't know. To the point where we're up 10-0 at halftime. Lawrence is 16 of 23 passing, 150 or 148. Got the Jags down the field multiple times. I mean, I have to give him credit for moving the football. I did think to start the third quarter that the Ravens offense kind of failed us. Thought we had an opportunity to get points there and wasted it. And then they go down and they score, to make it 10-7. And at that moment, I'm like, this team looks like 2022 to me. It didn't finish that way, clearly. But watching them move the ball to the tune of 181 yards in the first half, including 10 first downs, they were winning the time of possession at that point. And then Agnew's big touchdown, for a moment, I did have thoughts of 2022. And then we're able to go right back down on our very next possession after they've closed to 10-7 and make it 17-7. You got Mitchell for 24, that beautiful run. It's kind of difficult to appreciate now because he's injured and who knows how long he's out for. But tossing it to him and then him winding it back all the way across the field. Lamar was involved in the block there as well on the cutback, or really 2 cutbacks. Very next play, we go outside zone out of trips closed. I can't believe NFL defenses aren't identifying that yet. It's like teams, no one can stop it until the 4th or 5th time we run it each week. It's shocking to me, the lack of awareness. You're talking about damn near 100% play. Sets up a 2nd and 4. Lamar escapes the sack and I guess risky throw to Likely up the left side, but Likely's open, clearly, because Lamar threw it to him and he made the catch. But there's definitely a guy on the inside and a guy on the outside. Looked like zone, someone converging. 26 yards, 27 yards, gets us down to the 4. Pinpull pitch to Gus to end the third quarter. He was close. I thought he almost got in. And then Gus on the power, unbalanced, I believe, unbalanced right. One cut downhill makes it 17-7. And with the way our defense has played this year, you thought, all right, this is going to be different than to 2022. And sure enough, it turns out it was. We added points on our 8th possession to get another field goal. You have Mitchell for 13. That was the play where he was hurt. And it looked like the players who were on the field, saw it. They didn't show the replay, so it must have been gruesome. Picked up 13 yards. Then Justice Hill for 5 and for 8 on outside zone. Another one out of trips closed. Like I said, I can't believe that teams aren't. It's like they don't stop it until the 4th or 5th. When I say stop it, I mean recognize that it's going to be outside zone to the trip side. There's nothing going to the tight end nobody side until there's motion over there. But in any case, Lamar keeps it for 15 on a pistol read play that I thought was huge because it just showed them, hey, there's another element that we've got here. This offense has multiple gears, ball control, big play element. Lamar making plays to find time and throw the ball downfield to someone, and then Lamar keeping it on the option. There's multiple gears or approaches here. Gus almost scores. That's the 20-yard run where he's carrying the ball in his left hand after contact, and the ball is just way away from his body. I don't know about you, but I just have flashbacks to that fumble last year. And then one run on 1st and goal. And it's like we had enough. We've just smashed them. Mitchell, 13 yards. Justice Hill for 5. Justice Hill for 8. Lamar for 15. Gus for 20. And first and goal from like the 5.5 only gets 2 yards, and we've had enough. I don't know. Couple of passes create a third down where we're trying to get Bateman open on the drag. It looks like Macari gets beat by the DN. I'm not sure who it was. Lamar's retreating pass fell incomplete. At first, I thought it was a dangerous one, but they showed a replay. It looked like Bateman, was the closest guy to it. So I don't know, but makes it 23-7, and we're able to get the stop to finish the game. Basically, roll through Florida and push the record to 11-3. I don't know about you. Is it from the standpoint that I didn't think we were tremendously impressive with other guys getting the football, wide receiver specifically, and we're still able to go down there and win by 2 touchdowns, generate almost 400 yards of offense. From that standpoint, statistically, it looks impressive. I just didn't think things looked clean tonight offensively. Missed opportunities, I think 2 of them. One to potentially get in field goal range, and then another one to run another minute off the clock. That incomplete pass to OBJ in the end zone that I mentioned. When we do go up 23-7. And now we're on to the 49ers, another team that mirror image of the Ravens in some ways. Complete team with a full roster. Very good offense, very good defense. Christmas night, it's going to be challenging for all of us, myself included, try to get a video out. But you hope to play teams like the 49ers. You hope to play them twice. There's a long way to go between now and then, and a long way to go between now and even that game on Christmas night. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about you. I've already started gathering 49ers film. If you have any ideas for what to include in previews to make them more interesting, it seems like Ravens previews don't draw as much attention. Maybe I should release them earlier on Thursday to try to get people longer time to process it. It's just difficult to put those together. Just like these. The reaction video took a lot to get produced here tonight. That's why it came out so late. Appreciate you guys' time, man. Let me know what you think of some of the comments and ideas and thoughts that I had here. If I missed any elements, Ravens defense did a good job stopping or slowing down the run after an initial flurry by the Jags. So, I didn't mention that. But if you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this reaction video to the Ravens' 11th win of 2023, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.